It's just that the focus tends to be on the service member, and they forget that. I'll use myself as an example. On my former spouse's last deployment, one, I'm staying awake so that I can talk to him when he's awake on his time, and then keeping the kids up so they can talk to him. And then there's a ripple effect from my stress going into work. Thankfully, I did work for the general, so they were very understanding of what the situation is. But
Now, which general is this?
At that time, I was working for General Katkus for the National Guard.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked for 3 different generals through the National Guard, which was great. I mean, they understood, they empowered me to have a voice to speak up for the families and the service members in all branches. But I think what people don't think about is your children, as resilient as they are, and spouses as resilient as they try to be, when they go to their jobs or those kids go to school, the effects that they have while that partner is deployed translates down through the partner that's at home, and therefore to the children or the people that partner works with. And so we really try to emphasize that every service member is someone's neighbor. And so every deployment not only affects the family of the deployed, it also affects all of the surrounding people and whomever the support is for that family as well.
You're right on point. And a lot of things, like I said, I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but it is what it is.
It's okay.
It's somebody's going to listen and pick something out of this that they need. So, a lot of times when people get deployed, women, men, say if you're gone for 18 months, sometimes if you have young children, the father or the mother comes home and sometimes have a problem integrating back into the family unit because that person that was home is paying all the bills.
Yes.
They're buying all the groceries, they're tucking the children into bed, and then the person that's coming home is trying to fit back in, but it's a weird, it's a weird dichotomy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you deal with that?
It is really difficult because the person that is coming home wants to have the normalcy of what it was when they left. That's what they remember. That's what they think about while they're deployed. And they want to come back to that exact same situation. But in all actuality, our last deployment was 18 months. I think it might have been the only deployment during that time frame that had been 18 months to that, because they shortened them right after that. But the reality of that is the children grow. I had to learn to be more independent while he was on that deployment and do things on my own, and then trying to reintegrate to what that new normalcy looks like. It's a difficult transition to have. And if you don't have really great communication, not only prior to the deployment and during the deployment, but are able to have those difficult conversations when that service member comes home about where you each fit in and how you're going to have this new relationship, because it is new. It's not the relationship prior, and it's not the relationship during the deployment. It's a brand new relationship, and you have to be able to evolve with that. And it's not easy. And that is where we have a lot of, especially young families, really struggle on that reintegration coming back through. And we have to focus on making sure that they have good leadership and good muses that they can go talk to and get good, sturdy advice, and not just throw in the towel, which is very easy to do nowadays.
And first of all, I want to, thank you. And I'm truly honored and blessed that you took the time to hang out with us today. When I said I'm honored and blessed, I mean it. So now when a soldier gets home, or airman, or, Navy veteran gets home from a deployment, they're not the same person that left.
No.
So how is it, because you've talked to more people than I ever will, how is it when they get home and, like a lot of times military personnel will come home and they're so vigilant,
Yeah.
or they, we would snap, like, like my wife we go about it crazy all the time, because she's a blooded Sicilian. So
Oh,
when
I
she
love her.
so when she gets stuck in traffic, she's the F word and this and all that, and I'm like, honey, it's no big deal. If there's no bombs going around us,
Yeah.
it's not a big friggin' deal. But for her, it's life. But for we have a different perspective. So what was that? Coming home, when your ex-spouse came home, having the different perspective on life in general. It must have been a total shock. When you're he's looking at the doors all the time, or he can't sleep, or every noise makes, he's up and he's jumping around. It must have been like total culture shock for you when he first came home, the first deployment.
The first deployment it was brand new to me. And I do not remember my father. He was in the military when I was very, very young, and definitely don't remember my grandfather. And although I had been working in this field for years, it I hadn't experienced it firsthand. And now it's very humbling, because I was giving out advice, of course, to what I thought was the best advice, but not having had that firsthand experience until that deployment. And it's it was not easy. Like, it wasn't easy to I didn't understand the door thing, the back against the door, which now I got whenever I go anywhere, like my son's on his third deployment right now. I just know when we walk in, I'm fully aware that he wants to be looking at the door. I don't make him feel like there's anything wrong with that, where before I'm also uncomfortable with my back to the door. So it would kind of be a little bit of a tiff with my ex and I, but not having understood that that is something that was ingrained in him while he was gone. And so on the spouse who's at home, what I would say is learning to be a little more empathetic to the situation that they have been experiencing for however long they're gone. I mean, 6 to 9 months is what they're doing right now. I have a plethora of friends in the special operations community, and now we're talking 20 years I've been doing this, and so I understand the little things that might be stressful to them. And we're not going out to big bars where there's a lot of people, that is an uncontrolled situation. But I think as the partner at home, you really have to be cognizant and thoughtful in your actions, and take a moment prior to getting worked up over a reaction that they may have had coming from the deployment. Just taking a breath and then thinking in your head, is this person reacting emotionally to something that I have done, or is this a reaction from something that they've experienced over the last, however long while they've been gone?
I love that. And I just want to say, like I said, I don't know where my conversations go, because of the whole ADD thing is great. And with a traumatic brain injury, who knows where it goes. But, talking about special operators, since I've had the honor of hosting my last show and this show, I've gotten to meet so many, Delta Force, and different Navy SEALs and stuff like that. They're a different breed of people.